Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to a special stream, an interview with the winner of the first AI art competition. My name is Marek Marcewicz. I'm part of a lablab.ai community, and today we have a special guest, winner of the first AI art competition, Julia Shutkevych. Hi, Julia.
Hi.
Thank you for accepting the invitation and for spending your time with us today. And so, without any more introduction, I will tell you more about Julia. Julia Shu, Neometa, is a multidisciplinary artist blending art, technology, science, and nature to explore the vastness of time and space through the creation of visual metamorphose that extends our ways of comprehending the universe. Okay, this sounds like a well-curated text for a portfolio, website, or an exhibition, but can you tell us more,
Sure.
Julia, about your art, about your journey, about AI tools you are using during your creative process?
Yeah, well, actually, this text is something I created myself. It took me a long time to figure out where exactly am I in the world of art today? What do I want to tell? And basically what it's all about. So I'm glad it sounds well curated because it took me a while to figure out how to put all these endless subjects that are of great interest for me into one phrase. But in the very end, I came up with understanding that everything I would like to explore is somewhat connected, first of all, with people, and second, with the environment we are living in. So it's about here and now, but it's also about something timeless. So that's why I ended up understanding that, well, probably I'm interested about time and space and relationship between it. And I'd love to combine all the different opposites in the world. And I mean, it can start from combining global topics and personal experience, as well as, white and black and good and bad, because world is full of contradictions and it's never just the same. So that's something about the topics. As for the tools, I'm a self-taught digital artist, although I'm currently at Central St. Martin's MA Art and Science. However, all my tool set and knowledge and everything I'm working with right now is something I was studying myself. Originally, I didn't have an artistic background. However, I was having a lot of individual tests, a lot of individual like classes. And I mean, I've been preparing myself, but I ended up realizing that I love digital media, and that's my primarily source and of inspiration and of interest, because I find all digital art tools endless. I mean, if you're painting a physical picture or whatever, I mean, you just put a brush stroke. I mean, it's there and it's just there. However, with any digital tool, you can reverse and combine and delete and come back and return. And if you don't forget to click save, everything should be all right. so so my journey started quite obviously. I mean, I understood at first I need to learn like some basic, so to say, Adobe package. But really soon I realized that it's quite limited and it's not fun. So I turned up to animation. I loved it a lot. Then I realized that I spent too much time like creating, and the result, I mean, it's a very time consuming process. So that's when I started to figure out how to use generative graphics and then what is generative art as it is. So I don't have like a massive coding background. I do know a bit of JavaScript, a bit of HTML, but I'm mostly a visual programmer. So I'm using node-based software. So I've started with processing, obviously, because it's like processing is like, I don't know, mother of code art, probably, because quite a lot of things have started as like code art altogether started a lot with processing as the first language. Then I've been trying open processing, a web-based like environment whatsoever to create code art, as well as P5.js. They are quite similar, and the syntaxes and the language are very much the same. So, I mean, transitioning between these different environments is quite fun. What else? Then, yeah, generative art. So, for me, generative art is something I probably currently love the most. I'm working with Touch Designer. Again, mostly visual programming, combining and experimenting with nodes. Touch Designer requires knowledge of Python. I mean, I do know it like slightly enough to code something in Touch Designer, but I mean, I wish to progress in it more, and I think there is no limit. At some point, I do wish to start learning Unreal Engine. I mean, just because it's probably the step forward in all of that. But somewhere in this journey, AI happened in my life, as in life of a lot of artists, and I realized that that's the other tool which I mean, it's quite interesting to have in the artistic portfolio anyway, and it's so endless. So obviously, I've started with some solutions like Midjourney, DALI, and I'm following their updates. But at some point, I thought I'd love to move forward and test something more flexible. So recently, I've started experimenting with Stable Diffusion and various Google Colab notebooks and networks. It's not that I can create a Google Colab notebook from scratch with all of that, like, endless, even for me, scary code, but at least I can use and combine and adapt solutions that I can find to my needs. So that's how I started working with AI. I really found the Forum Google Colab notebook one of the most interesting ones and very, very versatile. So it's quite interesting because over there you can combine AI with various types of movements, 2D, 3D, as well as the stable diffusion. So that's in process of all of this experimentation. I actually created several artworks for this competition. By the way, I can share the screen now and then show them if you'd like to.
Yes, please. Yes.
Sure.
Okay, actually, you are step ahead of my questions. I wanted to ask, what do you think about DALI, Midjourney, and all of the creative shift in the creative industry from the perspective of a creative person? Because you're not only artist, you also work in a creative. You have creative background, design, and also you are an artist. So. How do you perceive the potential which gives all of the stable diffusion, DALI, Midjourney, and so on, all of those tools? You mentioned them, so I think it's a great time to uh, share that thoughts.
You know, there are very mixed feelings about these tools. I would probably start with the thought that it all depends on how we use it and what for, you know? Because, I mean, there were a number of researches on what creations are there depending on the person who is using these tools. For example, an artist opposed to a non-artist. I mean, and there is a big understanding that even if it seems that AI is creating all by itself, you need to have specific knowledge and guideline in order to create what you really want. So it ends up that
Of course, some background you have helps to create the perfect prompt or to know what you can predict to know. Yes.
yeah, sure. And if you see a specific image as an artist, you probably better understand what's wrong or what to fix and how to edit the prompt or all of the technical parameters to create what you really want to see, but not just some random image, you know? So I think if you know what you want and if you have some sort of artistic feeling, it's much easier to work with these tools. So yeah, I would say I'm overall I have a very positive attitude about the advancement of AI overall. I feel like it can bring art to a totally different level, and I see it as a tool that helps to develop a certain artistic vision rather than, something to be afraid of, as if AI will, substitute all the creative people in this world.
Yeah, for example, all of the potential which those tools give. For example, the winner of our last Stable Diffusion hackathon created a model which basically I would say would be some kind of Adobe Premiere 2.0. I mean, they
Yeah.
created a tool where I don't know if you're familiar, but
Yeah, I was.
maybe
Yeah.
our viewers are not. So for them, I will tell. Winners created a tool which, using Stable Diffusion, will create an animation. So you can set up timestamps in your video, in your generative art video, and based on some keynotes and prompts you deliver, you will have a different, longer animation. For example, for your music video or whatever you need. So the potentials are endless. But as you said, it will not kill the creative industry, but it would more enhance it, make it easier, or make it more competitive and more
Yeah.
predatory, I would say. What do you think about it?
Well, it all depends on how do you see the artistic environment overall. It may seem competitive, but in the very end, I do believe that every person has his or her own perspective, point of view, and I mean, it's not possible to find two pieces of art that are the same. And I think that every artwork has its audience. So, I mean, we create more than it was a century or 2 centuries ago, but at the same time we consume more. So I would say, having an economics background, I would say that demand and supply are now somewhat balancing. And speaking about AI tools, by the way, yeah, I mean, it's not only about creating an image, it's about creating tools to enhance and make the images or any like even time-based artwork better. For example, for these art, I mean, if I would scale, it's still perfect quality, although for AI there is a certain limit on the dimensions you can use for the image. So I mean, there was just another tool for upscaling any image, which for me is like a miracle. I mean, you can upscale and upscale into like, I don't know, enormous dimensions. So I would say possibilities are endless, and the only limit is again is always our imagination and human potential.
Okay, so after all, it's just another tool to create art rather than a machine which will replace all of the artists, as you're saying. And maybe
Yeah.
now we can talk about your work which won the competition, your submission. The title, is it the prompt or the title? Because you could do
It is a
both.
title.
So that's the
Yeah.
title. Maybe you
Yeah.
can show it, Jakub, as Julia is streaming it right now. So the title is To Live is to Love, and it's created with the forum Stable Diffusion, Google Colab, and AI as Ragon Upscale. Can
Yeah.
you tell us something more about it?
Well, these images were created while I was experimenting with AI overall, and I've been using it to visualize my poetry. So there is like a whole AI generated video behind these several still shots. And
That is really amazing. Thank you for sharing it.
and I mean, this specific artwork, I mean, it is upscaled a lot, and I really love the way that you can zoom in into all of this particles, and for me it's like a mycelium. I mean, maybe it signifies that we are all connected in a way. And the prompt uh, well, the prompt was quite complicated. I mean, in the prompt itself, I was trying to limit the AI with specific colors that, I mean, I do love and I tend to use in my creative practice. So there was first limitation is the color palette, then the style. I've been experimenting with a lot of different like combinations of style, not simply using like, let's say, I don't know, abstract or modern or contemporary. I've been trying to combine different styles, trying to understand, can I get into something really specific, for example, a conceptual art or brutalism or minimalism? Will AI still understand me? And for me, it was the desire to combine different contemporary styles so that they would represent my own style. So I didn't want to copy someone's artwork or the and again, or the style that exists. I just wanted to try and create something new. So that's how I ended up with this one. And
And
I mean, the
does it,
prompt.
does it connect with your attempt to create a new art discipline? I mean, new new
It
art
is
movement, which is called neo-meta.
modernism.
Right? So does it connect, or is it a development of this art practice with now the AI tools, right? So is it a step forward, or is it something else?
Well, I probably think that, yeah, I mean, it is all interconnected. And well, I would say AI is just like one of the tools that are there in order to visualize this sort of art movement that I'm trying to create and develop. For me, it all starts with my personal artistic practice, but I do plan to expand it in the future. So yes, it is in a way a step forward, although I still don't want to limit it to, one specific feeling or one specific style. I do want it to be adaptive as the world we are living in.
Amazing, amazing. And so, as you can, because I interrupted you as you were talking about the prompt you use to your winning submission or winning artwork. And second question, as you already mentioned that you were using colors and were experimenting with different art styles. Did you also use negative keywords, negative prompts as well? As many
Sure.
people are creating works only based on negative ones, or there is a big conversation regarding need of usage of the negative ones.
I mean, I've been trying and testing, and as for instance, when I came up with more or less consistent style with the prompt, I realized that negative keywords help me more, not with the still shots, but probably more with the video itself, because it helps to eliminate specific things I wouldn't want to see. So I would say maybe that's my personal experience, but I do feel that negative keywords are very useful, especially if you want to generate a specific sequence. So you want to keep things more or less consistent.
Okay, and as I saw, you joined LabLab in last month, and can you tell us about the community? Did you, as you said, you do not, you are not a programmer, you're not a developer. Did you join any of our hackathons? As you previously mentioned that you know who won the Stable Diffusion hackathon, so can you tell us something more about your experience with LabLab and the community around it?
I mean, to be honest, I've accidentally found LabLab on Instagram. I think it was even sponsored story. I'm not quite sure, but I found it with via the Stable Diffusion hackathon. So I mean, I joined it, but I just realized that uh, I wasn't able to participate in it, although I was following it and I was checking the submissions and the works of the winners. And yeah, I do plan to join the next hackathon. It probably there are like two of them that I found very interesting. One about generative art, and the second one I think was again about AI and the usage of DALI and similar tools. So yeah, these two upcoming ones are quite interesting. And yeah, although I don't have a programming background, I've been working a lot with programmers. I've been working a lot at tech companies. So I mean, I do feel like I would know the code more, I mean, I would be probably a programmer. So it's just that I probably feel it more visually.
Yes, also for us it's a great opportunity because as we want to engage people and encourage them to create in this new environment AI-based technology, create new solutions as it's let's say Wild West. I mean, it's no man's land as the with the open access to all of the tools we can create new things. So we want to also, despite of engaging and inviting programmers, developers, we also want to invite people, the creative ones, or people who maybe do not know how to create a tool, but have a vision or know that something is missing, like this generative animation creating tool of the winners. So it's also a great opportunity for us to meet people with different background and will to innovate, build, and develop the future. And also, I wanted to tell something more about the background of Julia. I mean, before there was not much time, but I wanted to tell that you are a pretty active artist. And I just mentioned a couple of exhibitions. The Cluster Contemporary Art Fair, Paris Plus Art Basel Ukrainian VR Pavilion in the Metaverse, 59 Venice Biennale, Musa Pavilion, NearCon 2022, the Hong Kong Heritage Museum, the European Digital Art Fair, and many, many more. It's really impressive for young artists like you to have such a big, huge practice, huge recognition. I mean, as being shown on so many places. And with all of that in mind, can you tell us why did you decided to submit in the first AI art competition? Because as there are open calls and exhibitions and so on, there are not AI art based. So why did you choose to submit here? And is it and how do you perceive such a competition, such an opportunity for AI artists to be visible in our idea, in our competition, let's say?
I mean, as you've told, there are not that many AI competitions. I mean, I wonder if there are any, especially for AI artists, but not programmers or people from
Not
technical
that I
background.
found.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard of any. So that's why when I realized there is this one, of course, my first thought was why not to do that? Especially because, I mean, for me it was perfect timing because just at the same time I've been creating this AI video. So for me it was like, I don't know, perfect time, perfect place. So that's why I just did it. And yeah, I mean, I wish there would be more possibilities for, I mean, there will be probably for AI artists. Maybe quite similar situation was when augmented reality art was emerging, or VR art, XR, and all of that mixed reality stuff. I mean, there was, I mean, even half a year ago, you could hardly find anything about it. But now more and more opportunities start to emerge. So, I mean, I do feel AI will probably face quite a similar future, which is cool.
So another thing from questions prepared beforehand, as I want to read a part of your manifesto, your artistic manifesto, which after I read it, I will ask a question. So
Yeah, sure.
um, zero between. I mean, if you want to, you can read it on Julia's website. There's a manifesto, so feel free to. And so, between 0 and 1, 0 and 1, communication with machines, binary code to research and create in harmony with science and technology. Between 0 and 1, nothing and everything. explore infinity to reach point of singularity behind the event horizon. And I will skip to the one I wanted to refer to. Define a new approach to human computer, human other collaboration. So, as you are saying that your art practice and AI is just a tool, probably Unreal 5 will be the new tool you are using. But basically, your whole artistic practice is around science, technology, maybe machine learning at some point. And it's maybe not now in 2022, it's not a new thing, and it's like still emerging art discipline or art field to research. But as you started it a couple of years ago, it wasn't that known, or the niche wasn't that big. Why did you choose this one over, I mean, let's call it institutional criticism, or gender, or post colonial discourses, and so on and so on?
Yeah, right. I mean, cool that you've chosen that specific prompt because, yeah, for me it's also quite important. I did tell that, I mean, machines are tools, but I would probably personally, I feel that machines are also kind of like collaborators. And with that prompt that you've mentioned, I do feel that art helps to establish communication not only between human and human, but also between human and any living or even non-living organism. And for me, it's a communication that you know I can keep having with anyone and anything in this world or universe. So for me, it's a limitless potential, and that's why probably I've selected machines and software as my primary tool, because I see it as a driver for this limitless potential, probably. And the other reason is probably my math and more like technical background, and like at my like professional career before, I was collaborating with programmers a lot, and throughout my conscious life probably I've been more connected with machines and with the digital world.
Before,
So
because sorry for interrupting, just for the viewers to have the background. Before, you worked in an e-commerce field as well, and I mean completely pragmatic, marketing-oriented uh, jobs, right? Despite
yeah,
of the creative ones. So
it was digital marketing for tech companies, so it was quite complicated, and usually it involved complex B2B software solutions. So that's why I do love complexity in a way. And obviously I felt very limited in that environment. So, but I love technology. So that's why I just wanted to take the best from that world and apply it to the world I love, which is art and philosophy and sociology probably as well.
amazing. So actually, I ran out of questions, and if you want to share something with the community, the floor is yours, and uh, feel free to.
Cool, thank you. I mean, thanks a lot for all of the questions. It was very interesting to, you know, to even think about answers, and it helped a lot to understand my own views on art probably while communicating. And I mean, I've been showing this like two AI generated artworks. This is, by the way, one more still shot from the AI video. But apart from AI, I've been also
Sorry,
experimenting a
can you
lot.
show work she's showing us right now?
Okay. And then the other thing I've been experimenting a lot is generative art, and I just wanted to quickly share a couple of still shots from real-time generated video. So all of these shots that you're now going to see are from basically the same technical setup, although they all do feel quite different. So this was like, this setup for me was inspired by combining two by nature different materials, so something organic with something man-made, and then trying to find common ground between them. Mainly the common ground between any material, if it is artificial or natural, is that it's all made of particles. So that's why all the different structures that you can see there are in the end dissolving into just millions of particles. So that's why in the end I just combined them with a very famous function of E equals mc square, which is basically an understanding that, yeah, everything just dissolves into particles in a way. So yeah, that was just one of the recent things that I made and wanted to share. But
what technology did you use to create
Touch Designer. Touch Designer.
Once again, sorry.
Yeah, that was Touch Designer. But I've been using other software just to post-process it a bit.
Amazing. Please continue.
And I mean, most of my artwork is time-based, either time-based or real-time. So it's not that I produce quite a lot of still art. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to share or just welcome you to see all the other time-based art that could be found quite everywhere. Website, Instagram, Vimeo, and all the other platforms. But yeah, I mean, I did love this experiment because I don't tend to create still shots, and it was so cool to freeze this moment of I don't know, a dissociation or dissolvement of the image. So yeah. Basically, yeah, I think that's it from my side.
Okay, so Julia, thank you very much for your time, for submitting such an amazing work, and for taking part in the first AI Lab art competition. We are preparing something, a second edition for first part of the next year, so stay tuned. So it's a leak for viewers, so they can start the prepare process. And of course, tomorrow we will post on our lablab.ai website a blog post with a short description of Julia, her artwork, and also where you can also see her movement videos, not the still ones, not the still images she creates, and also the winning artwork and many her website, her Instagram, and so on. So if you are interested in Julia's artwork and want to read more about the first AI art competition, tomorrow you will have a great opportunity. Once again, thank you, Julia, for your time. It was great talking with you, and good luck. See you in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure to be there. Thanks for all your questions. And yeah, see you.